Hello, my name's Bill. I'm going to do you fellas a sharpening video. My buddy Ken's having trouble sharpening shears, and long story short, they went out and got 3 pair of shears since I said, well, probably pick them up at the garage sale, practice up, and have a decent pair of shears for almost nothing. Well, long story short, he grabbed his wife's shears, tried sharpening them, ruined them, and he now owns a $300 pair of shears that his wife keeps locked in a drawer. So he's not allowed to touch them. And anyway, so these guys send me these shears, and I mean, these things are rusted, nasty, about the worst looking scissors I've ever seen. So one other thing, I'm not associated with anybody, or I just happen to have a TSPROF sharpener, so that's the reason I like it. So I guess I tend to promote it a little bit. So without much more jabber, I'm going to get to sharpening and see if I can save these bent up, ugly, nasty scissors. Here we go. I got a pair of scissors from a buddy of mine, and they are a real joke. I don't know if you can see this on here, but pandemic of 2020, and going to see if I can do anything with them. You can take, that's what I mean, they don't even touch. So, they are a bad joke. So we'll give it a run here, see if there's anything I can do with them or not. They're bent, they're dull, and they're probably older than me, which, according to my kids, I'm older than dirt or God, so we'll give them a try. It'll be a long process. Figure I'm going to spray them all down, probably let them sit a day or two or something, and see what can be done with them. You know how good old boys are to lay down the gauntlet, and sometimes we just aren't smart enough to say, no, thank you. Okay, so this is the pair of scissors that I was showing you before. I took and let them soak a couple hours in some WD-40. I've come back and I'm hitting them with a wire brush, trying to get some of the big chunks and that off because they were really sad. I thought they were going to be a lot worse than this, but they've actually cleaned up pretty decent. If you take and look in through here and everything, they're fairly solid. There's no major chunks. The ride line out here, is pretty solid. Shockingly, there's no major pits or anything along here. So, I think they're a pretty solid garage find. And it would be according to, how far along did you, how good do you want to make these scissors? My thought is, they're a garage pair of scissors. So I think that's plenty cleaning up if we can get them sharpened up, and if we can establish a ride line and that, I think, they're going to be savable. So we'll give it a try here and see if we can establish, a ride line on these. And of course, after we sharpen these blades, we'll give it a couple of swats on the stone to deburr. So if we can, we won't get real crazy about getting it perfect, because we know we're going to work it a little bit more. So fine-tuning and finding that balance, in my opinion. And of course, this is, as long as it's sharp, works for you, yay, hooray, that's great. Everybody, in my opinion, does it a little bit different. And as long as you get sharp results that work, now you'll take, in my opinion, and use some of what I do, some of what somebody else does, and you will develop your own way of sharpening. Now, I'm going to slip these back together quick, because I want to know, are these going to open and close nicely or not? Do the blades need to be, I think if you saw it right at the beginning, were pretty floppy. And they just flat didn't touch each other. Now, I think these scissors had been taken apart and the screw put in backwards. Normally the tightening down one is up on top, and these were just backwards to that. So I have turned them around, and we'll try to adjust and see if we can find that. That's a little too tight. That's too loose. It's sometimes hard to find that perfect balance point. And I'm a little afraid these have been bent. They got old, worn, a little damaged, and of course we could see right off the bat that they hadn't been taken care of. So we just put it in there. I want it about the center of this, kind of the center of the shaft here. And so I've got them in. I've got them on a little bit off center. We'll play with this a little bit, see what we think, see what we like. I mean, that's actually looking pretty good. And I like to leave the serrations going this way, a little bit rougher. It gives them a little more bite as far as when you're cutting, so that your item isn't slipping down your scissors if you got a little more toothiness in here. And scissors, normally you leave them a little bit rougher. You don't polish them like you might some of your knives. Anyway, when we're doing scissors, we don't want that kind of a mirror edge on the average scissors. Now, these, I'm presuming, are going to be his garage type scissors. They're not a they're decent quality, probably older than I am. Will not be. We're gonna, once we sharpen them on the TSPROF sharpener once, then it will be consistent, and from there we will be able to come back with the cube the next time we need to sharpen them. And let's see, we are at 6.5, which I'm not a great scissor sharpener. I haven't sharpened zillions of them, but that seems awfully a very unusual number. I've seen a lot of 21s, I've seen some 12s, but 6.5 just seems quite very steep of an angle, and that looks like it's got us in there. So we'll get some water on here, double check everything that is tight, and have at it. Now just double check this for giggles. Not sure how well that's going to show up. We'll put a little flashlight on it, and looks like about 6.7-ish. And yeah, okay, so 6.7 looks to be the angle of these scissors, and I'm using a 120 diamond stone from TSPROF, and it's my coarsest stone, and you know, so it's around a 120. It says 160 to 120. Anyway, so here we go. Now, this absolutely is not the same, but when we get done, this will have, you know, a flat line, and it will be consistent. All, you know, they just had chunks of stuff. Looks like we got it all except for just right at that top lip. So I'll give it just a little bit more. This is basically, like I said, the 120. And being the garage scissors and that, I'm going to leave them very toothy. Leave them with the 120 serrations across here. I'm sure, you know, they weren't left that toothy originally, but I'm sure my buddy is just going to use these in his garage and that, and, you know, he does some reupholstery and that, so cutting, you know, heavy upholstery and that, I'm thinking that probably is going to be the best. And, you know, for the purpose, now I have some I cut leather with, and I leave those very toothy, generally the 120. And for cutting my leather and that, I mean, that's just perfect for me. Okay, so we do have a burr all the way up. So we can take this out, and, you know, sometimes I go ahead, and I think I will, I'll go ahead and just give this a light polish at the 120 level. I mean, they're pretty rough. I'm wondering what, this is a homemade one, which I have made. And we'll just give this a light polish. Now, that's not going to remove all those serrations, and I don't want it to. All I want it to do is just give it that little bit of polish, and leave my deep serrations. Now, they do actually make a tool after you sharpen. You can come back and put those deep, and even much deeper than this, serrations into the scissors. And I have a pair of round scissors I use for cutting around feet on my giant schnauzers, and they have very coarse, thick hair, or at least mine do. And I'm going to match the grind on these. Like I said, I expect my friend is going to use these in his upholstering business. I think they were really sent to me as a joke out of a garage sale or, bargain box or something, Probably he thought they were trash and was going to have a good laugh that Bill couldn't sharpen these scissors. Well, I was certainly going to give it a first-class try to sharpen them. And, I've fixed them up a little bit. I've got a ride line on them, as you saw in the earlier parts of this video. And I should have tested this, and I didn't, and saw what angle I'm at, and I'm at 6 or 7.1, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this down to 6.7, which is what we sharpened the other one at, and just kind of match them there. So we're right around, we're saying 6.8 there, 6.8, 6.7, and that way they'll be pretty close, and when he sharpens them next time, we know that they were 6.8, and that will make life a little easier. I like, once they've been sharpened, you've got it written down, you can go back to the stone and set that quickly and sharpen them, and, the ink is probably the best, but, it's real easy to err, and you've got to keep messing around, fooling around. Once you get that dialed in with the Rubik's Cube there, that is really nice because you can jump right on that cube quick, get your angle set, and have them sharpened and done in just a few minutes. I've done some of these, and had them in good shape in 5 minutes because I had it dialed in on the cube, so you could really get to it quick. And that's going to take a minute or two. Evidently, this one is a little further out than the other one was, so it's going to take a little more. I think it slid on me a little bit. We'll back up here and see what our angle is saying now. That is extremely unusual. And we're saying 6.9, so we're not that much different. Alright, so we're back. I get these a little extra. Okay, so now we know that you're probably only touching on a fingernail width of stone at any time because of the blade angles and everything. So you're really not, using the whole width or, But as we're going up and down, okay, now we've got some burr in here and we've got some burr down here. So we're a lot closer than we were. I know I need to work it up high here pretty good. And then, right in here, I need to work pretty good, so I got nothing. And then I'll slide up and down to blend those two together. All right, here we go for the testing. We've done the ride line. We've cleaned them up. We put them in the TSPROF sharpener, sharpened them, and as you can see, I've already given a couple of tries, and they're cutting paper quite nicely. But they're cutting, they aren't holding anything. And then we get to the tissue paper, and you can see they're pulling the paper. And it's like, what's going on with this? Well, I've already assessed it, looked at it a little bit, and when the top blade, I got all the way out here on the point and everything, it looks like that one is fine. But when I did the bottom blade, it looks like I left about a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd of an inch on that blade and didn't sharpen it. So guess what, boys? I'm going to have to go back and touch it up. But a couple of nice things. I know that I've got it set at 6.7, so I can throw it in there, get dialed in for 6.7, and I can go down and work that end and should be able to pull this 1/16 or 32nd of an inch in pretty fast. So, and this is one of the things you get into, and one of the reasons that you want to test these things when you get done, because you don't want to hand these back to your customer and then get home and then have this type of problem. We want to get it fixed before they go back. Took them back and touched up the ends, the last 32nd there, 16th, whatever it was, right on the ends, and touched that up. And we're taking the burr off of if I left any burrs there, and you know you do, because you're feeling it, you know it's there. Now, we wanted to get that off before we did the tissue test. So we bring those up, and you know, we are cutting that nicely. We're not hanging up on any of our tissue. So we pretty well know these are good to go. Now, I could have simply ran back off camera, touched up the end of them, and you would have never known that I made a mistake. But the whole thing for me is, I'm going to teach you something. Now we took these scissors from garbage, out of the garbage or somewhere, I mean, and we cleaned them up, we sharpened them, we tweaked them, they're in good shape, they cut nice, and I'm sure that Terry is going to get years of good use out of these scissors. Now, I'm pretty sure the guys, and one of them has already admitted that, you know, they found these at a garage sale in a garbage bin and snatched them up because I'd been bragging about sharpened scissors and that, you know, I could get her done. Well, they snatched up 3 pairs of scissors, and they all just look horrible. And I've taken these from the garbage heap back to useful, and he does auto interiors, and he's been wanting, but he's too cheap to go out and buy a new set. And anyway, so he's got a nice pair of scissors. They cut beautifully, and I'm going to probably clean them up a little bit more now that I know they're going to work. And make them prettier and send them back to him and see what he's got to say. So until next time, you know, good cutting, and God bless. I hope the great pandemic has not caught up to you. We'll see you, boys.